Hello and welcome to SweetSpotDFS. This is a review video for the 2020 3M Open. Did you guys see that Michael Thompson win? Nah, neither did I. I mean, that came out of nowhere. I mean, congratulations for him. That's his second win on tour, so that's awesome. But it's really, other than Tony Finau, basically everybody else on the top leaderboard, the salary leaderboard, disappointed us. And we'll get into that shortly. But quick, I want to remind you, you can watch us in a faster speed. If you're on desktop, drag the mouse over the screen. You'll find a gear icon somewhere down here. Drill down on that. You'll find playback speed. I prefer 1.5, but 2 times will cut this video in half. Hopefully it's short, so it won't matter. On mobile, top right-hand corner, 3 dots that make a vertical line. Drill down on that. You'll find playback speed. I'll also have timestamps in the description. So let's go ahead, get into the spreadsheet. Let's not waste any more time. And here you go. We have Michael Thompson, 7K, the winner of the tournament. And in second place, all by himself, Adam Long, also $7,000. When you have first and second locked up with $7,000 salaries, it really doesn't matter who comes next. I mean, it's going to be... okay, hold on. It does matter. I'm sorry. That was the foolish thing to say. You know, it could easily be Tony Finau, and we could put Brooks Koepka as third and fourth. You'd want those 2 golfers to go with these 7K guys, and that probably makes a closer lineup to 50,000. But as you can see, you really couldn't create a $50,000 lineup with everyone at the top of that leaderboard. I mean, we could scroll down from here down 6 places, and we get 47,800, which is insane. It seemed as if it was windy on Thursday and Friday, but other than the DJ withdraw, it almost looked like everyone else just struggled. And I don't know if that had a lot to do with just not being interested. It didn't seem that way. I mean, Brooks looked like he was actually trying to make the cut, to play better. And he fell short. I mean, he fell a shot short, but nonetheless, he still fell short. His brother made the cut and did pretty decent on Sunday. So congratulations to, well, I shouldn't say congrats, but good on Chase Koepka for finishing decent. Where was he? 26th place. That's not bad. But anyways, going back to this leaderboard, I mean, man, you know, Matthew Wolff. Well, if you went like a Matthew Wolff, Tony Finau, Max Homa, I mean, that's doable, right? That's 28,600. We have $22,000 to work with. That's, you know, your 7K guys. So I could play one more 7K. That's 50,000. So like that would make sense, right? If you started your lineups with Tony Finau and went to Matthew Wolff, that makes sense. Even if you went from Matthew Wolff to Harris English, this is 49,300. That goes with Charles Howell III. You probably have a little bit more leeway to go to Alex Noren, Richie Rensky. He was a popular guy. Even Ryan Moore, that would make 50,000. So like there was definitely, if you just started with Tony Finau, there was ways to get to a very good lineup. Now, the $3 Birdie winning lineup had Adam Long, Tony Finau, Charles Howell III, Cameron Tringali, Dylan Fratelli, and Brian Harman. And that's all your guys that are highlighted in blue. And that was an overall points total of 643.5 using 48,100 of the salary. Now, the optimal lineup was Michael Thompson, Adam Long, Tony Finau, Alex Noren, Charles Schwartzel, and Robbie Shelton. And that scored 708.5 using 45,300 salary. So like that is highly unlikely. Not many people are leaving, you know, $4,000 on the table, or, you know, $5,000 on the table. So it highly unlikely. But either way, that was your optimal lineup, 45,300. But we could have easily gotten to like a $50,000 lineup and still did better than the $3 lineup, which leaving 1,900 is insane. He must have used a lineup generator, honestly. And if not, then kudos to him. But that's pretty impressive. But if you started with Tony Finau, yeah, I mean, Tony Finau and Matthew Wolff just easily make it accessible to like create a normal lineup. Normal lineup, relatively speaking. Gosh, Michael Thompson, yeah, that's 48,500. So either way, you wanted to go Tony Finau and probably Matthew Wolff. Those were your two best bets. Oh yeah, we were gonna look to see. We need to beat 643. Let's put Matthew Wolff together. Tony Finau. We'll put these two guys together just because. So we have 4. What would make sense here? I don't know. I mean, like, do we go to Max Homa? Well, okay, never mind. I'm sorry. We can do the lineup that we were just talking about. So I think we could do like a Charles Howell. So that's 661.5, and that's going to beat 643. I think we can do that, right? Howell, Wolff, Homa? Yeah, it's 50,000 on the button. Okay, so I mean that lineup would have beat the $3 Birdie winning lineup using all 50,000. So it was doable. You just had to start out with Finau and Matthew Wolff, which I can't say I did a lot of, honestly, which is entirely on me. Like, that wouldn't have been a bad combo to choose, or even going to Harris English. No, I played a lot of Harris English. I just don't know how much Tony Finau and Harris English I played. If that's not telling, I didn't do very well this week. But anyways, let's go to the meat of the review. We'll go left to right. I'm not going to talk about the sweet spot or any of those stats right there, but R is just result. So obviously here's your top 10. Let's try to figure something out. And of course we're going to start looking at tee times. I mean, if you want to look at points and how much they were owned in the $3 Birdie, you certainly can right here. Tony Finau, 24%. Like, that makes a lot of sense. Same with Harris English. That was nearly 30%. Those numbers make sense to me because those were golfers that I think we all should have seeked out. Now, what I did in the beginning in the preview video, actually in the lineup construction videos, I highlighted a bunch of these tee times because I liked their playing group that they were playing with. In here, really all we can see is Max Homa and Matthew Wolff golfing together, which I have no shame in admitting that I didn't pair those guys up at all. And if I did, it was by I wouldn't say mistake or accident, but just by chance. It would have just been by my random lineup construction. But I gotta say, I did not purposely do that. I believe Shelton and Emiliano Grillo, it's all based off of stats as to why I liked them. Their bucket, or maybe it was by buckets. Must have been just by buckets. And then the guys in yellow were stats and buckets. And I don't remember why Alex Noren has a lighter yellow color, but I know if we went back to the lineup construction page, we would understand why. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time. I was kind of busy all weekend long, and I'm getting this video out a little too late. Anyways, so basically one tee time that we highlighted in the beginning worked out fantastically. Really can't see any other lineups together up here. At least I don't. I don't see any other matching numbers, but of course if we scroll down a little bit, we got 25, 35. We have 25 here. I thought we had 35 up there. 35. Pat Perez was with Paul Casey and Bubba Watson, two popular golfers. Just happens to be their third was the guy that made the cut. Kyle Stanley was with Emiliano Grillo. Kyle Stanley was doing really well during this tournament. Kind of lost steam though. I mean, it's Kyle Stanley. Okay. Oh, here's our 20. Patrick Rogers. Yeah. I really like Patrick Rogers. It wouldn't have been crazy for me to pair him up with Alex Noren because I also like Alex Noren. But man, this leaderboard was just, it was awful. Let's, like, if we look at salary, look at the salary. Look at all of the missed cuts and withdraws over here. We have 3 golfers that finished top 20. Otherwise, the rest of them miscut or withdraw. And that's awful. Paul Casey miscut. Bubba Watson miscut. Tommy Fleetwood miscut. I don't have to say anything else. Like, the bucket score even would indicate how likely they would have made the cut or even finished top 10, and they missed the cut. That was brutal, man. Anyways, let's go back to the result. I'm not going to talk about any of these rows here, or the columns with the round 1 through round 4 results, but you can see again. Oh, I suppose I could hide this as well. We don't need to look at tee times. It just really looked like 1 pairing or 2 pairings really worked out. Could have played Harris English and Dylan Fratelli to go with like Matthew Wolff and Max Homa. So definitely doable there. Couldn't have gotten to Tony Finau, I don't think, with that price. But either way, interesting to know. I'm starting to look a little bit more at the official World Golf Ranking. More and more that I see in these events, I only grab top 300, but I'm seeing a lot of top 300 inside the top 10, which, yeah, obviously if we have, 100 golfers that are inside the top 300 playing, you really can't narrow down your player pool that much. But yeah, we can get rid of 50. But I'm going to do a very deep dive into a lot of these other stats to try to figure some kind of good combination to go with the bucket system. Before we get further into this, where we'll go through all the stats, I do want to note the bucket systems the bucket system you see here, the last year bucket, last week bucket. Obviously, dark red means, it really means stop. Don't play these guys. And you can see Michael Thompson, 6-1. He won the tournament. And then we see Max Homa, who was a 6-2. He finished 3rd. And I've got a bunch of 5s here that also finished 3rd. The only thing I want to bring to your guys' attention is that all of the last week buckets were 1s or 2s. So like that was kind of the key stat, or if we're looking at buckets, we wanted to find last week buckets of either 1 or 2. We wouldn't want to go 3 or 4 or even 5 or 6, We wanted to keep it 2 1s or 2s. But it's just a myriad of different combinations up here that it is difficult. Now, the 1s are going to reign supreme, and a lot of that is because there are just that many more 1s than there are anything else. So that shouldn't come to really any surprise. And I'm starting to notice that when I look at this bucket system a little bit more, is I need to also kind of come up with likely outcomes. Obviously we're going to see more last year 1s, but that doesn't mean, like, if we were to go and sort by the last year 1s, that we're going to see that many more inside the top 20. Now, sure, we've got 7 and 4 of them were in top 3. But of the missed cuts, like, look how many we had. Like, notable missed cuts: Tommy Fleetwood, Paul Casey, Bubba Watson, Eric Van Rooyen. I don't care about the rest, but those 4 golfers who were 8,800 and above, I put a lot of weight on those golfers because of their prestige. They're elite golfers, or, I shouldn't say elite golfers. They're above average golfers. And the fact that they missed the cut, in a way, like, the bucket system shouldn't, in all reality, we should compare each of the buckets to themselves and then go from there and create an ownership based off of that. Because, yeah, if we look at all of the 1s, which there were 79, So that's half the field. Because there were that many ones, like, we should consider our ownership based off of that. If we're going to do this bucket system to its full max capacity, or not even max capacity, but all the way through, as opposed to like just little bits here and there, I'm going to think about doing that for the next video. We're going to revamp everything. So it should be a little easier to follow along. Now, if we look at the last year twos, we see one that finishes inside the top 12, and that's Matthew Wolff. But, you know, not a lot of golfers here even, you know, made the cut. And last year two should be the next confident, you know, confident bucket to choose from, because it is your last year 20s, you know, top 20s from last year. When we look at last year threes, those are your missed cuts. Like, that is the majority. So threes and ones were the majority of the top 20 leaderboard. But again, like, we can come down here. Now, I wouldn't say this is a more notable crew, but Russell Henley and Doc Redman, as well as Charlie Hoffman, were popular plays. And of the threes, would you have played Adam Long, Ryan Moore, or Cameron Davis over Russell Henley, Doc Redman, Charlie Hoffman? It's definitely something to think about, though. Definitely going forward. Because it has to be, you know, we have to look at that kind of stuff. Last year fours, we had two inside the top 10, and they're pretty notable golfers, like Tony Finau and Charles Howell III. Everyone knows those two golfers. CH3 hasn't played in a long time, but his Bentgrass stats were phenomenal. Same with Tony Finau. So it makes sense. Like, that's all I'm getting at. And a lot of these other guys down here, I mean, I wouldn't want to play them just because of, I guess name recognition. Really, I wouldn't want to play them because they're not good. Fives look a lot like threes and twos. Like, sure, we had two top 10s, but the rest, you know, the majority of them were missed cuts. Last year's sixes were not majority missed cuts, but in all honesty, I wouldn't have played Robert Garrigus. I wouldn't have played Bill Haas or Matt Every or JJ Spawn or Ryan Blum. Like, I wouldn't have played those guys. But the rest of them, yeah, I would have considered. I mean, I think I played Michael Thompson in one or two lineups. I just don't think it was worth any lineup. You know, I know I did. I don't remember which one it was. And it wasn't like I was winning a lot of money. So that's kind of your bucket breakdown, your last year bucket breakdown. I'm not really going to go through last week. I mean, it's interesting to see only two. Yeah, last week is difficult to go by. Actually, I could go like this. That would make things a little better. So yeah, last week buckets, you got first place and two third place, or three third places, I should say. The last week bucket 2 had the most top 5 finishes, so that's a missed cut. So that is interesting, missing the cut the week before. Tony had a top 20 finish. So did Xinjun Zhang and Harris English. So that's also very interesting to note. Matthew Wolff, Ryan Moore, Dylan Fratelli had 20 to 40th place finishes. Charles Howell had a 48th place finish. Bo Hogg and Sepp Straka had 60th place finishes, which never look good, ever. So those were the buckets. I do want to make sure to go through that just to show you guys, since that's what we do talk about. And I am going to go further. I'm going to go deeper into buckets and really create lineups based off of buckets. I've kind of been doing a little hybrid method, but I'm going to just really deep dive into it and make sure I get that part of it correct, and make sure that, you know, the one thing that's unique to me is an edge over everyone else, basically. If we went through course history, I'm just going to sort this from top to bottom. We only have 3 golfers that finish top 20 from course history. So just looking at that. I'm going to go through this fast. So pause the video and screenshot it at any moment in time if you want to catch up or keep the stats for yourself. Recent form, only 2 golfers finishing inside the top 20. I would have thought, like, I would have bet money on that being more important, recent form, but it definitely was not here. For sure, it was not. Overall Bentgrass. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 golfers inside the top 12. That makes sense to me, but if you're choosing these 5 golfers over like Dustin Johnson, Tommy Fleetwood, Bubba Watson, Paul Casey, even Charlie Hoffman, Russell Henley, I think really the only golfers you would be Finau and Matthew Wolff. The other golfers you'd probably just pass off, like not that big of a deal. But that's also really interesting. I want to create some kind of method, some kind of formula based off of. I already do it by salary, but I do it in a different way about salary. Like 7,100 with a top 20 bent is probably a bit more valuable than say an 11.5 with top 20 bent. So I have to keep that stuff in mind. We did look at 2020 Bentgrass, so I do want to look at that. We have 4 golfers that are inside the top 20, so that's pretty good. I mean, I would consider that a stat to continue looking at. I'll go ahead and hide this, and we'll go tee to green and go all the way through to the end of the stats like we do in the lineup construction video or the preview video. One of the two. I can't remember exactly. But anyways, let's go tee to green, top to bottom. We had a few golfers here that were top 20. 6 of them to be exact. And that was Tony Finau, Harris English, Cameron Tringali, Emiliano Grillo, Cameron Davis, and Ryan Moore. Tee to green wasn't a huge stat I was looking at, but now that I see this, it's probably good. But what I was looking at were positive off the tee stats and positive putting stats. That's what I was looking at the most. Like the combination of the two. If we look at off the tee, your top 20 off the tee, we have 4 golfers that made the top 18. 2 golfers made top 5. 1 golfer made top, I should say, not 1 golfer, but yeah, you can see what the finishes were there. Not very good. Approach, many more. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 golfers who made the top 20, and a majority of them, this is where we see Adam Long for the first time in these stats, are shots gained approach or strokes gained approach, and also Cameron Tringali as well. So very interesting to see that. Around the green, did that matter? Sure. We had a few guys here around the green that finished top 20. 4 to be exact, so it's decent. Now, strokes gained putting, being in the top 20 doesn't really give you a huge bonus, but I'd say just being positive strokes gained putting. So I'm going to keep going down until I hit negative. So Xinjun Zhang, Ryan Moore, even all the way down to Robbie Shelton. So you have 4 golfers here on the side of the top 20 that had negative strokes gained. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, including the winner, 13, 14, 15. I have 15 golfers who have positive strokes gained putting who finish inside the top 20. That's pretty huge. Now, if we were to grab all the golfers that have a negative strokes gained putting statistic, you literally could get rid of 56 golfers. Now, Emiliano Grillo was 3rd, the worst putter in the field. But I think you could sacrifice that. And I don't see anyone here that actually has no stats that finished well. So definitely strokes gained putting, you could cut out a lot of golfers who don't show up strokes gained putting. So that would have been pretty awesome. I mean, we would have had how many golfers in our pool if we would have done that? 70. So we could have cut it down to 70, and we could have even gone further from there. But if you were to create 100 lineups of 70 golfers, there are only so many different types of combinations that you'd feel comfortable playing. So it was definitely doable. Green and reg, we see 3 top 20s, green and reg. I'm not going to talk more about that. Proximity, we have 2 golfers inside the top 20. Not a huge deal there. Birdie or better, we've got 3 golfers inside the top 20. Again, not going to speak on that. That's self-explanatory, I should say. That's, to me, it's self-explanatory. Not in the way that I think that it's getting portrayed, but like, it's just not that big of a stat. That's what I mean by self-explanatory. Driving distance. We had 3 golfers inside the top 20 for driving distance, so I would say not a huge deal. Driving accuracy. Same as driving distance, 3 golfers inside the top 20. Good drive percentage. And only 3 there. And again, this is top 20 in those stats. How about bogey avoidance? 1, 2, 3. 3 again. So not a huge deal. So who's that? Harris English, Cameron Tringali, Tony Finau. Good drive percentage. Grillo, English, once again, Ryan Moore. So English is showing up a few times. Or a couple times there. Moore shows up again. Thompson for the first time. So you can almost say driving actually mattered. And Grillo actually had both driving distance or driving accuracy and good drive percentage. So interesting to note. Let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and go by result and just kind of like let's just do a quick snapshot of the result here. So like good drive percentage. I mean, we see that's probably the stat that has the most green columns or green cells under the column. I think it did matter. It was pretty important. I wouldn't say like super important, but I really can't see anything else from the strokes gain stats, really. You know, that really, maybe tee to green. There's a lot of green there. Tee to green and putting. Tee to green putting and good drive percentage, maybe? Something like that. I don't know. I still don't see like a huge tell when it comes to this. And, you know, overall bent, I would have put money on being a better stat than what this shows. I mean, sure, you could have probably created 6 lineups based off of that. 97, 81. Maybe not when I go through this. That's 43,200. I'd have to find someone in the 6K range. That has good Schwartzel. Yeah, okay. That works, but I don't have the winner. I don't have second place, so that's no good to me. But yeah, so Bentgrass didn't really matter. Again, this is your top 20 leaderboard right here. So I really can't see much about this tournament. It was almost a glorified Corn Ferry tournament or tour tournament. Like, I think a lot of people will probably be saying that, and I can't disagree with them. Although it was in my backyard. When you see not a lot of golfers, big time golfers come to this event, and the ones that don't have a lot of enthusiasm to try to finish top 10 or, you know, to make the cut even. I don't know, man. There's just something weird about it. And it wasn't like there was any difference between, you know, tee time splits. Morning and AM, or to say, afternoon and AM, pretty close when it came to the results. I mean, I guess there's probably a bit more PM than there is AM. But not a lot, honestly. I don't think there was a huge difference there. So, can't really say that was the issue. I did a rundown of the stats, try to find, you know, see how many top 20 finishes we had. Obviously, we didn't have a lot. And really couldn't really do. This tournament was so confusing. It was so, I mean, just seeing the result afterwards, it just, man, so, what's the word? Unsatisfying. Because, I mean, your top 6 golfers, like 42,800. I mean, that's not the optimal lineup, but you could spend 42,800 and beat, you know, a lot of, or win a lot of the GPPs. That's crazy. You don't see that at most tournaments, and I bet we won't see it again for a while. So Yeah, I don't know how to take it. We'll figure something out though when it comes to this. I'm fairly positive I can figure something out to find the results of this. I mean, I know it's going to be recency bias, and not every single year this is going to happen like this, but there has to be some kind of reasoning as to, you know, like this quality of golfer is in the top 10. So we'll see, and we'll get through, like we'll get into it. I will. So what I'm gonna do is I'm not going to explain the process as much. We're gonna go through players instead. I think that's what everyone wants. I think that's what makes it easier for people to understand. So we're going to revamp it, and within that revamp, I'm also going to create new formulas to figure out ownership, because it doesn't seem to work with tiering. Like I don't know if tiering is really the way to go. Maybe it still is, because we do see a lot of, you know, 10-9, 9-7. Matthew Wolff was 12th place. That's not terrible. And then obviously you got a lot of mid price guys, and I have 1, 2, 3 guys that were, you know, tier 3. So I mean, it's doable. We still got to figure something out with the formula though, so we'll definitely dig into that, or I will, and then maybe briefly explain it. Probably not. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the preview video for the WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational. All right, see ya.